to have the bigger sword. You know, Toon Link has a sword, but it may as well just be a big stick in this matchup.
Now, I'm not even sure. I don't know if I'd agree with that, Callie.
Really?
Yeah, I think that Toon Link specifically, now if it was Young Link, that sword is basically like swinging a wet noodle in a lot of ways. But Toon Link's sword is something different. We've seen it a lot with like level 0 in, or CPU 0 in Japan, as well as Easy up in northern Michigan, that this character is a late meta character developing right before our eyes with Toon Link. And we're going to see some more of that right now with Lightning pulling out the going against Suspect.
Yeah, we're going to see one thing that we saw Lightning do very, very well against Symphonies is using that Zair as just a means to constantly keep these more brawlerish characters at arm's reach, as we are seeing the Suspect laying on the damage though.
Absolutely. This is a surprising turnout for the Toon Links today, as we saw with Capo as well right before this.
Yeah, Capo having one of the better runs, but unfortunately not able to make it out of pools, but still doing an incredible job going game 4 with Soul. And now we're seeing the game start to slow down a little as Lightning doesn't want to overextend. But Suspect is just parrying everything.
Yeah, somebody's got to take that clip and edit the Ultra Instincts like music over it, where it's like bump, 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 as he's going really deep to make sure Lightning has no chance of recovery. But the bomb is there, but it's not enough for this big boot.
Yeah, we're seeing Suspect try to come out to as quickly as possible. The Boomerang not able to save Lightning, but you have to be really, really careful. You never want to be in the corner against such a powerful character like Kazuya, but Rage Drive is now online, and you could potentially see a very early stock taken from Lightning.
Lightning knew exactly what Suspect's game plan was there, as he just held forward and chased him with dash attacks across the stage. Pretty much calling out Suspect, saying, you are going to roll backwards every time. And right now, it's playing to his advantage. He's able to find that setup with the forward air.
Absolutely, and we're seeing Lightning start to play a little bit more aggressively, not letting Suspect get into his rhythm, but Suspect saying, I can go the distance, I can play the long game, but we're seeing Lightning start to lay on the pressure with these boomerangs and these bombs.
Yeah, Suspect's thinking, you want to slow it down, bucko? I can play as slow as you want me to.
Yeah, but we're seeing Lightning start to bring back the percent lead despite losing the stock pretty early. But however, you're going to get grabbed, and this could be a dangerous situation in the corner here.
It always is such a dangerous position. It's how these size 15s taste, buddy.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 off the side, and calls him out with the laser, but it's not enough to take the stock. But it'll be the
foot drop.
The foot drop. Dropping the leg on him like he's Hulk Hogan.
But we're seeing Lightning come down and immediately start to lay on pressure, basically just make it a wall and make it as awkward for Suspect to come back as we see the confirm into the forward air, and we are just seeing both of these players trade incredible combo games.
That is an incredible pickup for that confirm, finding like from one bomb into another to make sure you get that like the forward air you know and love. Incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah, that forward air deceptively strong as we're seeing Lightning start to take the reins in this game, forcing Suspect into the corner and not letting him play too comfortably, using these projectiles to keep him at bay. But we're seeing Suspect put Lightning back to the corner, and this is where it starts to get precarious.
Yeah, 70% to 60. Lightning holding the lead so far. Has bomb at ledge. And he was looking for something nefarious. Gets no Ferb's tech, but it'll be up B off the top to give you a little bit of the special.
Yeah, that was a good win from Suspect, but we saw Lightning do very, very well, able to absolutely keep up, but you just have to always be a little bit cautious whenever you're against someone that's a Kazuya of Suspect's level.
Yeah, we were mentioning in the previous match between Arcti and Druish this war of attrition kind of thing. This is even more so what Lightning has to play, and when going up against a player like of Suspect's caliber, especially on Kazuya, we saw there were moments where he had the space he needed and was just content with just throwing these projectiles, and Suspect was kind of content with him doing it too. But really, it's a case of, can you take that even further?
Yeah. Do you think that Lightning should, slow down the pace of the game? Because we saw that Lightning was slowing it down. He was able to rack up percent, but Suspect still was able to find a way in, was still able to, lay on the pressure. But Lightning was able to keep tit for tat with Suspect, just not able to pull it out in the end as we move on to small battlefield. And we're going to be seeing maybe a slower game as Suspect is looking to hold Lightning, but we're going to see the combos come out, able to shield the Electric Ring God Fist as Lightning starts to get his game online. and the boomerang is actually going to save Lightning from the Electric Godfist, but you are going to get forward smash, and that is just such a devastating stock to lose early. You never want to be this far behind so early on.
Good heavens.
Lightning do a very good job at keeping the pressure alive.
Here's the grab off to the races, gets a falling up air and nothing else. Too close to ledge, I guess, that time for Suspect. But gosh, it was it's always so devastating to watch. Kazuya just absolutely crumples your opponent and then just hit the biggest punch ever.
Absolutely. One thing that we saw Suspect do a really good job of is that he got a grab and then waited for the boomerang so that he wouldn't be disrupted mid-combo. But that rage drive is going to be really, really scary here, and it will just kill from here. But we're seeing the bomb confirm into the up smash, barely not able to take it, as Suspect is looking for a way. But Lightning with the up air through the platform, able to just keep the pressure on Suspect and not letting him get too comfortable with his lead.
Yeah, it's another thing you really have to do is not nobody can really stay comfortable in this match. You have to keep both your opponents have to keep the other on their toes any way they know how. And from what we're seeing so far, Lightning is doing that great with projectile game.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing Lightning do a bit more cross-ups, using Boomerang as a way to cover you as you go through Suspect, but you're going to up-smash him, and Lightning did not like that. Taking a minute to breathe, but you're going to see the pressure start to play on, but you can't be too over-aggressive here and overextend, but we're seeing Lightning do a great job. The ledge trump into the down air is just such an incredible way to bring back this game, and all of a sudden, despite the early stock loss, you are now even.
That hit me with knockback damage. It caught me so off guard. I am back in my chair. My goodness. That was crazy. Hit the ledge trump and now crumpled the kid, but no follow-up. In a very, very rare drop from Suspect, but is he going to get the Burps Tech that time? Up B off the top. Wings of Liberty shine free, just like that.
Absolutely. So despite Lightning having those incredible conversions that we saw with the ledge trump, Suspect is just able to win that war of attrition, like you were talking about. Use that reflector, use that Electric and Godfist, and those crouch dashes to get in and get through all those problematic projectiles that Lightning has just been throwing out. But we've been seeing Lightning do an incredible job at sort of controlling space, but Suspect is just able to, I'm going to put you in the corner, I'm going to make it as awkward for you as possible, and I'm going to get this win.
If I had to guess, that very, very cool ledge trump confirmed from Lightning just made Suspect angry, so like, I'm going to finish this now. So that's my hypothesis, at least, is we're seeing now who is going to come up ahead. This game number 3 is going to a small battlefield. What do you think about this stage and this matchup?
I do like it. I might prefer Utopias 2 just for the extra range. Obviously, Toon Link isn't the most phenomenal pure zoner compared to someone like maybe a Samus, but you are able to control a bit more space on PS2. However, you might not want to die as early to the up B, as we're seeing Lightning do some really good platform movement. However, you mess up once. However, the bomb is going to save Lightning from the Electric Wind Godfist combos.
A rare case where normally we see that a lot with just snake grenades, but it's weird to see it. It's interesting to see it with a character that we know has bombs, but don't typically see those kind of escapes with.
Absolutely. And now the Rage Drive is going to be online, and you could potentially see an early stock taken from Lightning, but both of these two players are so proficient at taking some early stocks and just stealing them away. And we're going to see Lightning in the corner. How do you get out of here?
On paper, many people would see, like, if they come in seeing 2-0 in Suspect's favor, you got to wonder how those previous games have turned out. On paper, this is, Callie, this is shaping up to be one of those premier sets that's like it was a close 3-0.
Absolutely. That game 1 came down to the wire. We saw that Lightning was able to pull it back in game 2 with that ledge trump confirmed, but we're seeing Suspect just start to really pile on the pressure, and if you're Lightning, you have to find a kill early, otherwise you might just die to a raged Kazuya.
One of the biggest difference makers throughout the entire set has been Suspect's ability to parry. Is, oh my gosh, going for a big move right there in Lightning. Just could smell it coming and was right there with a response.
Absolutely, and we're seeing Suspect very similar to Arky, very good at keeping people in the corner, despite Kazuya not necessarily being the best character in the game at that ledge pressure, but we're seeing him just do such a good job of keeping Lightning in that uncomfortable space.
Really charging up for that shin check, but now Lightning off to the races a bit.
Yeah, we're seeing
catch something in a bottle.
Absolutely, we've been seeing Lightning do a very good job at laying on the pressure, even when Suspect is ahead.
But I made mention to it earlier, as a big defining factor throughout the set has been Suspect's ability to parry while approaching.
Absolutely. Run-up shield is really, really devastating if you know what to do with it, and Suspect clearly does, taking it with the up B, and looking to finish this game as soon as possible.
Take these broken wings and learn to fly again, Kazuya.
Absolutely. Well, we see Lightning start to slow down the pace of the game using, those retreating boomerangs or those retreating bombs. This is a way to punish Suspect for being a little overzealous, trying to end it a little too quickly, because you can never be too safe against someone like Lightning.
Yep, the Suspect now has Rage Drive, but that was an aggressive roll in from Lightning. But still survives just a little bit longer.
Yeah,
for how much? Sorry.
All good. You're going to see Suspect try to land the pressure as the back air is going to take it, and that is a 3-0 victory for Suspect. But despite that, Lightning played in a